The action model is a one-way process. It ultimately starts with a source. This is the person who will send the message. This message can be a verbal or a nonverbal element of communication to which people give meaning. Once the message is formed, the source must encode it. This means they put the idea into a form of language that your intended audience can understand. Once the message has been encoded, it is sent through a channel. A channel is simply a type of pathway the message travels through. The person who receives the message is the receiver. Once they receive it, they must decode the message or interpret it. Some examples for the action model would be one-way text messages, voicemails, emails, or even notes.
As you saw in the previous video, there was both a source and a receiver. The source was Jordan, who wrote the message on the whiteboard. Anna was the receiver who decoded the message, which was left on the board. The interaction model shows how communication is shaped based off of the feedback we receive. In the interaction model, the source sends an encoded message to the receiver. The receiver then decodes the message and sends a message back to the source. The message from the source to the receiver is called a message, while the message from the receiver back to the source is called feedback. In the interaction model, we must consider context. Context is what environment you're receiving the message in. This is both physical and psychological, so if you're having a bad day or in a bad mood, you may read into things that are not meant to be hurtful as hurtful and completely misinterpret the message, therefore sending back equally as faulty feedback. The video showed a smoothly transitioning interaction model. The source encoded a message on the whiteboard, and the receiver decoded it and gave feedback to the source. In the next video, we will show how this particular model can sometimes lead to miscommunications.
Making gluten-free eggplant with quinoa for my Brenty bear.
Great. Sounds wonderful. Great. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to your cooking. What's up with you? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to your cooking. What's up with you?
Forget it. I'll eat alone tonight.
Monica?
I don't appreciate the sarcastic tone when I'm trying to do something nice for us.
What tone? It's a text message. Listen. I'm genuinely excited about dinner tonight, and then afterwards we can cuddle, we can watch Game of Thrones.
Orange is the new black.
Both are great options. We're gonna have a really good night. I'll talk to you when I get out of work.
Love you, Brenty Bear. Don't make that face.
Sorry.
The video shows perfectly how the interaction model can go wrong. Monica, who was the original source, sent a very nice message to Brent, who was the receiver. When he responded back, she misinterpreted the feedback he gave her. This led to a big fight. It is sometimes very hard to hear the context in which people send their messages with, which is why face-to-face or phone calls are usually the better form of communication. In the next video, we will see how the message sent from the source can also be misinterpreted. A very broad question to the receiver. However, due to the context in which the receiver decodes the message, she thought the source was asking the question in a very personal manner. This is the other reason why people tend to run into problems with the interaction model, because it is very difficult to interpret what the source means by their message.
In the transaction model, you are both a sender and a receiver. You are constantly taking in feedback while also sending messages. In this model, you take in the content the entire time, not just when receiving and sending the messages. So the conversation typically has more flow and is less likely to be misinterpreted. This model is a much more accurate representation of the conversations we have every day. Whether it's when you stop to talk to someone in the hallway, a conversation you have with someone at dinner, you typically use this form of communication.
The next video will show a properly executed transaction model. There was a two-way flowing conversation with little to no misunderstanding.
I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
Okay, where are you going?
I'm gonna go get some food. You want some?
Yeah, can you get me something?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
In the video, there was a source who sent an initial message. It was then received and decoded, and feedback was sent from the receiver. Due to the context that both people were in, there was no misunderstanding, and the question and answers were all well understood. We will now take a look at a typical masculine culture.
In a highly masculine culture, people tend to cherish traditionally masculine values, such as ambition, achievement, and the acquisition of material goods. They also value sex-specific roles for women and men, preferring that men hold the wage-earning and decision-making positions such as corporate executive, while women occupy the nurturing positions such as a homemaker. Examples of masculine cultures are Austria, Japan, and Mexico.
The next video will show a common problem in masculine cultures: women wanting to have jobs, but men not understanding or allowing them to.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead to work. Can you pick up the kids from school?
I was gonna go get a job today.
I got a meeting I gotta get to.
Okay, but like I wanted to get a job too. You can't be the only one working.
That's my job. I'm the man of the house. I have to go get.
I hate this.
The previous video showed the problem of gender roles in masculine societies. Kyle didn't understand why Jordan wanted a job because he was most likely brought up in a culture where males were seen as the breadwinners while women are supposed to stay home and cook and clean. Next, we'll take a look at a more feminine culture.
In contrast, in a highly feminine culture, people tend to value nurturance, quality of life, and service to others, all of which are stereotypical feminine qualities. They also tend to believe that men's and women's roles should not be strongly differentiated. Compared with masculine cultures, therefore, it would not be as unusual for a man to care for children or a woman to be her family's primary wage earner. Examples of feminine cultures are Sweden, Chile, and the Netherlands.
The next video will show how workforces are in a typical feminine culture, with both men and women holding the same positions.
As you can see from this pie chart, we took a survey on people's favorite movies, and as you can see, romance won by a landslide by 30% of the company liked romance movies the most, 25% liked action movies, 20% liked comedy, 20% liked sci-fi, and only 5% liked drama.
In the video, Jordan and Kyle worked in the same company. This would only happen in feminine cultures because they value uncharacteristic gender roles as well as equality for men and women. We will now take a look at the Johari window.
An innovative aspect of the Johari window is that it recognizes dimensions of an individual's self-concept of which they may not be aware. For example, others might see you as impatient or arrogant, though you don't recognize those traits in yourself. Those characteristics make up the third part of the model, the blind area. On the other hand, the unknown area compromises aspects of your self-concept that are not known either to you or to others. For example, no one, including you, can know what type of parent you will be until you actually become a parent. Likewise, no one can know how you will handle a sudden increase in wealth unless you become unexpectedly wealthy.
We will look at how the open portion of the Johari window occurs in everyday life in the next video.
So, what are you in school for?
I am here to learn how to fly airplanes.
Me too.
Really? What inspired you to do that?
My dad's a pilot, so that's
Really?
why I wanted to do that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you know what you want to do with that in the future?
I want to just be an airline pilot, travel the world, and
Me too.
explore what's out there.
We just saw two people interacting in the open window. They were sharing simple information such as future careers and majors. These are both things that they and other people around them know about themselves. We will now see a video which shows the blind portion of the Johari window. In the text, Jordan and Anna were discussing how loud Kyle was being in class. This is the blind side of Kyle because he is not aware of the fact that he is being loud or obnoxious in class. His loudness is unknown to him, but is known to those around him. We will now see what the hidden portion of the Johari window looks like.
Oh my god, so Lucas and I are having our 1-year anniversary next week, and I'm so excited. I love him so much.
Oh my god, I cannot believe she doesn't know he's cheated on her 7 times already.
Anna was unaware of the fact that her boyfriend was cheating on her, this being the unknown portion, while Jordan knew of the fact that he was cheating, so this is the known portion. It is hidden because although Jordan knows it, Anna does not. We will now move on to the selection of stimulus.
Rather than paying attention to all the stimuli in your environment, you engage in selection, the process in which your mind and body help you choose certain stimuli to attend to. For example, you notice your classmates smiling at you without paying attention to what others in the classroom are saying or doing. You notice that your friend failed you to wish you a happy birthday on Facebook, but you ignore the text message she sent you. Clearly, the information you attend to influence the perceptions you form.
One form of selection is selective hearing, which is what the next video will represent.
Jordan, you're literally the worst roommate ever. You never clean up after yourself in the kitchen. You never take the trash out. You always leave your clothes all over the place. Are you even listening to me?
Yeah, what are you doing on Saturday?
Anna was trying to tell Jordan what she was doing poorly as a roommate, but Jordan wasn't listening. She was choosing or selecting which portion of Anna's words to listen to. In this case, she selected to listen to none of it and to simply ask her own question at the end. The next two portions are about classifying stimulus, the organization, and bias portions.
Once you've noticed a particular stimulus, the next step in the perception process is to classify it. This task, called organization, helps you make sense of the information by revealing how it is similar to and different from other things you know about. To classify a stimulus, your mind applies a perceptual schema to it, or a mental framework for organizing information.
The self-serving bias refers to our tendency to attribute our successes to stable internal causes while attributing our failures to unstable external causes. For example, if you get an A on your test, you did so because you're smart. But if you get an F, the reason is that the test was unfair or because you worked so much to keep up with tuition payments that you didn't have time to study. Those attributions are self-serving because they suggest that our successes are deserved, but our failures are not our fault. Now that we have learned about both organization and bias, we will watch a clip from the Blues Brothers movie on self-serving bias.
You know I love you, baby. I wouldn't leave you. It wasn't my fault.
You miserable slug. You think you can talk your way out of this? You betrayed me.
No, I didn't. Honest. I ran out of gas. I had a flat tire. I didn't have enough money for cab fare. My tux didn't come back from the cleaners. An old friend came in from out of town. Someone stole my car. There was an earthquake. A terrible flood. Locust. It wasn't my fault, I swear to God!
In the previous clip, the male actor was trying to convince the woman that he didn't abandon her. He makes up multiple excuses which are all due to outside sources. He's attributing his failures to unstable external causes rather than admitting the truth.